What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Andrew, I'm an Italian boy from Kentucky, and this is going to be a short introduction video of things to expect from this channel and some of my past projects and maybe some future projects. So let's get right to it. So a few things to expect from this channel are drifting footage, obviously, from my car behind me, my teammates from Wild Running. I do fabrication and TIG welding, MIG welding, etc. So I'm going to probably sprinkle some of that stuff throughout the channel. If there's anything that you guys are looking to learn, let me know what they are, and if I know how to do them, I'll extend that knowledge to you guys. Wiring knowledge, welding knowledge, maybe some sheet metal fabrication knowledge. I've done quite a bit of that. We're also going to journey into some of my past projects and future projects. So I have a lot of things in store for my Lexus, upgrades and some just general maintenance and fixing some stuff that I just didn't really love how it worked before. We kind of got the car sorted this year and it's doing a lot better than it ever has, but there still are some things that need to be fixed. So over the winter there are going to be some big upgrades that'll be very, very obvious. And then there's going to be some more subtle stuff that I'll definitely take you through that process of, fitting body parts, maybe doing some fiberglass repair work for people that go drifting. They know that you beat body panels to death. So we'll try to work on getting some of that content in here as well, not just general fabrication stuff. So see if I can, help impart some of my knowledge to you guys. And if you guys have anything that you guys have questions about, just throw it in the comments. I'll definitely be reading everything that is on this page. Not only that, I'm going to try to do some tips and tricks stuff for wiring, because that seems to be kind of a scary, touchy subject for a lot of people in the automotive industry. So I'm definitely going to get that stuff put on this channel and hopefully help you guys out a little bit and maybe get the scary out of all this wiring stuff, because it can be scary at first, but once you kind of understand where it's going, you'll get it and we can fix some problems. All right, so not only are you going to get how-tos and tips and tricks and stuff, I'm going to bring my dad into this, and he has been doing hot rodding and top fuel and a little bit of everything as far as automotive and motorcycles concerned. He even did land speed racing, so I want to get him involved in the channel a little bit, and I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of him because he is a lot of fun. He's a New York Italian who is into everything fast and slow and just about anything else. I mean, as you can see in the back, there's a little bit of everything in the shop. So at some point I'll do a nice walkthrough of the shop, probably with him, so he can give you guys a good explanation of everything that he's built or we've built, or things that he's done in the past, future projects with him as well. So I think that'll be a really fun addition to this channel, is just interacting with my father. He's really good for the head. So I think you guys will get a kick out of him. So that's another thing to expect on this channel. I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. So one of the things I wanted to do is kind of take you back through my life as far as motorsports is concerned. I grew up down here at my dad's shop from when I was very young, working on cars, learning about cars. Back in the 90s, my dad actually drag raced top fuel Harleys, which was a really interesting thing to grow up around. Lots of good smells. I was very young at the drag strip, so I grew up there. So kind of naturally I started working towards, doing drag racing stuff, but I kind of got bored with that. My dad was doing stuff with land speed. He actually built a Lakester with an S2000 motor and went over 200 at the Bonneville Salt Flats. So I started getting old enough to where I could work on cars myself and really wanted to build a car to go racing with him. And that's when my RX-7 came to be. We started working on that, and it was kind of a cheap, blown up rotary car, no surprise there. It's a 90 GTU, so it's non-turbo chassis, but it had all of the turbo goodies, except for the fact that it was an automatic. The only thing that was good about that is the fact that it had a very long rear diff ratio, so that was great for land speed. We found an RB25 Series 2 out of an R33 GTST and ended up putting that in there, and it was actually an automatic for the first few years of its life. I went, I think it was 145 in stock form. It made like less than 300 horsepower. That was actually through a stock Nissan automatic. So later in 2007, we got a wild hair, and I actually drove the car to Bonneville from Kentucky. I don't know if you guys have any idea what that's like, but it's a journey. So the car has a Kirky. It has no heat, no wipers, no AC, just stripped out race car, full cage, and I made it. I went out there, I did 170 miles an hour, which was basically the limit. So put that in perspective, less than 300 horsepower, some aero in an FC at Bonneville in 3 miles does 170 miles an hour, which is wild. And we drove it home. I averaged somewhere close to 30 miles to the gallon, which is wild. I think you guys probably want to see this thing, so let's get to that. So obviously this thing is not stock anymore. It is a Series 2 RB25. It now has a Garrett GT3582R with, you can't see it, but it has a tile V-band housing on it. I built the manifold. It is wild. It's equal length. It's also stepped, so it's tri-Y. 6 to 2 to 1. So it's got all Burns 321 stainless collectors and everything like that. Greddy intake manifold now. Water to air. Now remember, I built this thing back in 2008, and it still had an automatic even with the larger turbo. Things finally stayed cool after we got the intercooler out of the front of the radiator. It's got a massive radiator in it. It is on a Haltech, so you see an old school Haltech right there. Old school. It's on a Sport 2000 that I got shortly after PRI in 2008, which was when I first started messing with Haltech, which is kind of a cool history with that now that I work there. You can kind of see the car's been sitting for a long time, but you can see I did go to Bonneville. That's pretty cool. All my ECTA stickers are all stacked up. This is when it was in Maxton in North Carolina. We did go to Loring, Maine, which was awesome. That was a 1.5 miles, and that's actually where this car was its fastest. It went 183 miles an hour in 1.5 miles, so you can see how basic it is, and wiring's kind of a mess. This was very, very early in me really doing cars. This thing actually has full aero, as far as it's got a big air dam you can kind of see here. Over here is all the belly pan. It has a full aluminum belly pan that I did make the whole bottom of the car slick, which was great as far as aerodynamics. It really settled the car when we were going that fast. But I will say that it trapped a lot of heat. I probably should have put some more louvers in the bottom of it to get some of the heat out of the engine bay on this thing. So we'll actually I'll do some video of this running, maybe. I know that I've got some old videos of it running and driving, and I'll probably put them in here somewhere. The other thing I'm going to do is probably get this thing out, clean it up, and take it up to work. I think we're going to rewire it because it's just got a modified stock harness in it, you see. Yeah, so got LS truck coils. The stock coils on an RB25 are just super weak, and you'll experience spark blowout or you'll melt a coil. So put these truck coils on it from Haltech and had no more problems. The car at the time only made probably 350 to 360 wheel horsepower, even with this turbo on it, it was only running about 20 pounds of boost or so, which it loved, but you know, it needed more to really make any big power. But it is a stock internal engine, it's stock head gaskets, stock everything. So pretty impressive that it went 183 miles an hour. That was still with the stock automatic. So that was the last event with the stock automatic before it burned up. Now it has an R33 RB25 manual transmission and an OS Geiken twin plate clutch in it. So the only issue with that is the overdrive isn't as tall as the automatic. So it kind of is gear limited right now to about 175 miles an hour. But it should do that in a mile. Maybe if you guys want to see it, we'll dig it out and maybe take it to a standing mile event or want to go fast or something of that nature and do some roll racing. I mean, the car is fast with all the aero and everything. So yeah, so that's the quick rundown, not so quick rundown of my FCRX7 with an RB25. Let's move on to something else. All right, so sitting right next to the RX-7 is actually this 29 Ford that my dad and I started. Well, actually, Joe Timney of Delaware Chassis Works started this car. And was gonna put a flathead in it, I think, but Dad, being the Toyota pickup truck nerd, wanted to do a 22R. This is actually a hybrid 22R with a 20R head built by Downey Off-Road. Downey Off-Road was a big name in Toyota off-road performance. So this thing was supposed to be pretty hot. It kind of slow. It does have an automatic behind it just for ease of drivability and everything. You can see actually Joe built the back half of this body here, and it is wider than normal, so it gives you actually a little bit of room when you're sitting here. You see here the doors are on the outside of the body, and in the back they line up, so it gives you another few inches of, you know, room inside this thing, which there's not a whole lot going on in here. It still needs a lot. It's got a little heater in there, but it actually has a Schroeder steering box, so it is a side steering box from like a sprint car. It's way too fast, but you know what, it makes it fun. On top of that, it's also got a big moon eyes, moon equipped gas tank. Pretty cool. Dad actually knows the owner, Chico, of Moon. He met him out at Bonneville one year, and one of Dad's cars that we can get to later actually was in the Moon Japan catalog for Moon Eyes wheel covers. So that was kind of cool. This car does have a quick change in it. It is the small quick change, so it's not what you see in like FD and stuff. It's this smaller version that won't take quite as much horsepower. But it's still a quick change, so you can, you know, flip-flop the gears from a super tall ratio to a super short ratio, and, you know, drive it to the track, and then swap them, and then blast down the track, and, you know, make the car quite a bit faster. So it's got these big tires on the back. I'm not really sure what direction we're going to go with this, but I have some ideas, and it should be pretty cool. I think we're going to maybe get rid of the 22R just for something a little bit longer. Still Toyota. Maybe something out of one of these. So this is a parts car that I recently got. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, I'm kind of a SC300 nerd, so let's get on with that. All right, so this is my drift car. It is a 92 SC300. It is a 1.5J with a CD 009 Nissan Trans out of a Z33. It is a wide body car, and it is a Vertex wide body, so it is a genuine Vertex Ridge car. I actually got this chassis from a guy up in Ohio, and his name is Patrick Farkas. Great guy. I had talked to him a lot before actually picking this chassis up, and I had bought some of the parts for a previous street car that I had, so we kind of got to talking, and he was kind of moving to get rid of the car and just part it all out, and I really didn't want to see it get parted out, so I talked to Dad, and we had a long chat about it, and we decided just to pick it up. We figured, hey, we'll just throw an engine in it, and we'll go have some fun. Well, 2 years later, it still didn't run, but my wife and I found out that we were pregnant, so I kind of put a deadline on getting the car going on myself by doing our gender reveal with it. So we ended up doing that, and we had a good time. I'll insert a video or a picture or something from the gender reveal here. As you can see, it has work VSKFs. I got a set of these from my buddy Brian Lim. LB Wheels, he's a wheel importer. I ended up rebuilding them. There's another video on the channel about me splitting them and getting the lips and everything put on. The specs in the rear are 18 by 11.5, and it's got a 6.5 inch lip, so that's, real hot boy. The front is an 18 by 9.5, and it's probably a plus 20. It's only got a 4.5 inch lip, and that was mainly so that I could run a spacer to clear my LS400 brakes, which are excessive for a drift car, but it works pretty well. Look into the business of this thing. So, cockpit, Recaro seat. It does have a Haltech IQ3S display in it. You can't really see it because I put it inside the factory cluster. You can see I do have a trim knob right here, and that's actually for boost control. So I have 3 different settings on the fly boost control. So nameless performance handbrake, which is great. It's kind of hard on my hands sometimes. It's a little bit sharp on the edges, but you can kind of see the shifter here. I had to make that to actually be able to get to it. So there's the ECU. I don't know if it'll focus. So Elite 2500. It has our wideband and stuff like that. I actually did convert this car to drive-by-wire, which has been really great because you can really play with some cool functions with it. So let's get under the hood here. Wastegate through the hood. A little titanium pipe there. So here's what we got going on in here. So the car is a 1.5J. It is an NA2J block with turbo pistons, brand new rings that are gapped specifically, and ARP rod bolts. And then the head has BC springs, retainers, and 264 cams. You can see here, this is a Toyota Tundra drive-by-wire throttle body. I think it measured to like 74 millimeters, which is kind of perfect for something like this. The response on this car is just wild. I got built an intake manifold where it kind of utilizes the bottom runners, like the factory runners. Radium fuel rail, ID 1700Xs, radium fuel pressure regulator. I don't know if you guys deal with radium, but they got some of the best stuff up on the market right now. It's a precision 6262 billet. And it also has the OCD Works T51R mod, so this thing just screams. You can see it's V-mounted. That's kind of how it was set up when I got the chassis. So I went ahead and kept that because it really seemed to cool well. You can see the radiator down in here, kind of dirty leaf collector. So you can see the car's been beat up a little bit after the season. But yeah, so the car's currently on this past year, I started running BC custom coilovers, and I honestly think that was the best thing that I did to this car. It really made the car drive a lot better. So BC coilovers, fantastic stuff. I ran them on my street Lexus, my SC300 that I had on the street that originally had this 1J in it. And they were great. I slammed the thing. It was all daily stance car that was slow, but boy, it sure rode great. and really adjustable. This car is more sorted than it ever has been in the past few years of driving it. More grip. See all the guys we've driven with. Went to Team Vibes, which was an awesome event. Another thing, this car was tuned by Hal at Dynasty, and Hal is something else. He really knows what he's doing. Set up everything to just really work. The tune hasn't been touched in a year and a half. Obviously, we check it and data log and stuff, but haven't had to do any major changes since we put this motor in there, which has been fantastic. That's been just great. So I guess that's the quick, short rundown of my Lexus. We can do a little bit more on the shop at another time. You know, there's a fun car under here. That's a Falcon with a 351. Kind of running out of time here. I think we're going to probably wrap the video up here. I've shown you a lot of my past projects and kind of given you a rundown of some of the stuff that I plan to do with those, and kind of a general knowledge of what this channel is going to be. So please subscribe, like the video, share it, and comment on anything that you have questions about. I'd be more than happy to answer those questions, either by responding or with another video if it's a big enough question. Hopefully we can really get this channel up and going and have a good time with it. I really am enjoying this, and it's something I've been wanting to get started for a while, so I figured why not now? There's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming up, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.